Yeah, we're bringing back previews. When you have a game that means a lot, we need to talk about it. Dolphins at Steelers, Week 15. It's going to be a fun one. 7-6 Pittsburgh, 6-7 Miami. Big time game for both teams. Both squads need a win here, and we're going to talk about the game. We'll start with the weather because this always matters for the Miami Dolphins. Tua just won this past Sunday against the Jets, his first game ever, a game that was under 46 degrees. Well, this one's certainly going to be under 46 degrees once again. How about 17 degrees? That's the expected temperature in Pittsburgh on Monday night. Not much wind, which is good, only about 6 miles per hour to be expected. And there was early buzz about snow. Right now, the precipitation percentage is 20%. So as it currently stands, we might have a clear, cold, but not windy or snowy game in Pittsburgh on Monday night. Let's look at how both teams are trending right now. I mean, Miami has a 4-game win streak right now. Can't say they're the hottest team in football because you have a bunch of squads winning 7 games and you have 2 teams winning 10 games in a row in Denver and New England. But Miami has won their last 4, beating the Bills at home, the Commanders in Madrid, the Saints at home, and then dismantling the Jets this past Sunday on the road. Pittsburgh, 500 over their last 4 games, but they've had significantly more tough opponents than Miami has over the last month. They beat the Bengals at home. They lost to the Bears on the road. That was a game without Aaron Rodgers, and they still almost beat Chicago. They lost 31-28. Then they got blown out against the Bills at home 26-7, and then they got their big win this past week against the Ravens on the road to take the top spot in the AFC North division standings. And as we're going to get to the injury report and keys to victory here in just 1 second, do not miss out. We will be live on the channel for Dolphins Steelers on Monday night. Subscribe, join us, turn on notifications so you don't miss the live show. Let's look at some injuries to monitor. Obviously, this is a Wednesday morning video. If you're watching this later in the day, maybe the injury report's already out, but it's not out as of filming. So injuries to monitor from Miami's side. Achane with that rib injury. He is expected to do a play in this game, but obviously left the game against the Jets on Sunday and did not return. Tyrel Dodson left the game with a hamstring injury. He did return. Jaylen Waddle left the game for a little bit, grabbing at his calf, but he returned, so he should be fine. And then Aaron Brewer and Ifeatu Melifonwu, they were both questionable for the game against the Jets. Both of them played. Both of them didn't suffer another injury, but I did want to keep you guys informed on them as they might be a little bit banged up. Now, you look at Pittsburgh's injuries, they're significantly more hurt right now. They will be missing their starting left tackle in Broderick Jones and their starting safety, familiar face DeShon Elliott. Now, here are where the players that are questionable come in, and they mean a lot. Andrus Peat, who has been the starting left tackle with Jones out, he is going to be questionable with a concussion. You also have key rookie defensive lineman Derrick Harmon questionable with a knee injury. Jack Sperry, the host of Steelers Talk, said he might be the key factor in this game. If Harmon goes and he can help stop the run, well, Pittsburgh might win. Harmon misses and Miami runs it down their throat, well, maybe the Dolphins get a win. And then the behemoth tight end, Darnell Washington, is also likely to be questionable with a concussion. So let's move on from the injury news and get to the keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins. There are 4 ones I want to highlight. Number 1, no surprise, you cannot abandon the run. Miami has been one of the most elite rushing attacks in the NFL over the course of the season, but more specifically over the last 5 weeks. We'll look more about that here in a second. But the Steelers' run defense is not good. This year, they're averaging 125.3 rushing yards per game against them, 21st in the NFL. But in EPA per rush and run stuff percentage, they rank 27th in the NFL in both of those statistics. So the Steelers' defense and team as a whole, you're asking me where are they vulnerable? Well, it's certainly in the run game. And over the last 2 weeks against Buffalo and Baltimore, even though they were able to beat the Ravens this past Sunday, they've given up over 200 rushing yards in back-to-back games, 249 and 217, respectively. And now they're playing a rushing attack in Miami that has had more than 150 rushing yards in each of their last 4 games. First time since 1977, Miami's done that in 4 consecutive games. But since week 8, when Darren Waller went out with injury and Miami started implementing the 6 O-line personnel packages and just started focusing on running the ball more, Miami's been not only a top half offense, but a top 5 rushing attack. They're 3rd in rush EPA and rush success rate. They're 7th in overall success rate and 10th in overall EPA per play on the offensive side of the ball. So we know the Steelers' weakness is their run defense. We know the Dolphins' strength offensively is their rushing design and attack. So do not get cute. There are times in games that Mike McDaniel, as the play caller, gets cute and abandons the run. He did it in the second and third quarter against the Jets this past Sunday. He did it inside the red zone against the Saints, and he did it a little bit against the Commanders in Madrid. If you want to win this game, I'm not saying that you run the ball every play. That's obviously not what should happen here. But you need to have a wild distribution to where I think it's 60%, 65% run plays, because that's where Miami has the most success. If you have 60 offensive plays, you should be running the football, 35 times? So 25 pass backs, 25 dropbacks, 35 runs. That sounds like a good distribution to me. Do not get cute, Mike McDaniel. What is your confidence level in the Dolphins getting their 5th straight win and improving their record to 7-7 on the year? Scale of 1 to 10 down in the comment section. No rookie scores, by the way. Give me a decimal. Number 2, key to victory. I think this is an underrated one, and if you ask the key to victory for the Steelers, they probably would not include this, but if you're Miami, I think you cannot let the Steelers beat you deep in the passing game, specifically DK Metcalf, who last week against the Ravens did that. I mean, he had 5 catches for 135 yards. He was going nuts against that Ravens secondary. And on the year, he has 753 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. I just don't think that you can win this game if you're allowing Pittsburgh's offense, which has been pretty average to below average throughout the entire year, hit on chunk plays in the passing game. And I'm keying in on the 6'4" physical freak that DK Metcalf is. And if you actually look at DK's numbers on the year on 20-plus air yard targets, so deep balls, he's got the 18th highest targets in the NFL at 17. He has caught 6 of them, so not the highest completion percentage when targeted, but I also will make note, Dolphins fans, 6 of 17 actually isn't that bad in terms of when you're targeted deep down the field. He also is averaging, when he's targeted on 20-plus yard throws, 35 yards per catch. That's 12th in the NFL. And he is 2 of 6 on contested catch opportunities, 33%. And Aaron Rodgers, despite being so old and into his early 40s, he still is having a pretty solid year throwing the ball deep down the football field. He actually has the 9th best completion percentage when throwing the ball 20-plus yards down the field at 41.7%. He has 6 touchdowns on deep balls compared to just 2 interceptions. Ironically, both of those interceptions are when he's targeting DK Metcalf. And on Pro Football Focus, Aaron Rodgers is the 16th highest grade quarterback on these deep throws. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is not the same player he was when he was winning MVPs in back-to-back years with the Green Bay Packers and always had Green Bay atop the NFC standings, but he is still very capable of hitting you on a deep shot over the middle of the field into the boundary. So do not get beat deep. Do not give the Steelers chunk plays in the passing game, and I think they'll have a harder time moving the football down the field. 2 more keys to victory and my prediction coming up here in a second, but this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, playoff pushes, basketball matchups, bowl games, and while we're all making decisions on what to eat and what gifts to buy, there is one place where it feels good to be right: Prize Picks. And if your fantasy football season is already over, you don't have to wait until next year's draft. Prize Picks lets you play fantasy football every week. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections. No draft required. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. My picks for this Dolphins-Steelers Week 15 game: I am going more than Devon Achane, 83.5 rushing yards. I think he gets over 100 in this matchup. I think Miami's defense has really improved, less than on Jaylen Warren rushing yards. And Malik Washington has really kind of been phased out of the offense for Miami. I think he goes less than on his receiving yards, 22.5. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Third key to victory on this game. They don't do it that often, just about 33, 32% of the time. But when the Steelers defense gives you a man-to-man look in the passing game, you have to punish them. And I'll show some interesting statistics here on the Pittsburgh's defensive players individually in man coverage. And we'll start with the cornerbacks. Joey Porter Jr., James Pierre, and Brandon Echols. Those are the three starting corners for Pittsburgh. No more Darius Slay, and Jalen Ramsey has been moved to safety. Here are their numbers in man coverage on PFF. Graded out relatively fine. James Pierre has been elite for them. 42.4 QB rating when targeted, 79.7 grade. And then you see Echols and Porter Jr. in the high 50s of grades. But Joey Porter Jr., when targeted in man coverage, a 69.7 QB rating. Joey Porter Jr. has been great in man coverage alongside James Pierre, can get a little bit grabby. But when you're asking me, well, Nick, you're saying to light them up when they go man coverage, but you're showing some good coverage stats when they're in man. Well, I'm not focusing on the cornerbacks here. I'm focusing over the middle of the football field. I'm looking at those two safeties, and I'm looking at the two linebackers because Kyle Duggar and Jalen Ramsey have not been good this season for the most part playing man coverage, whether it's Duggar for New England before he got traded to Pittsburgh or with the Steelers. Now, the linebackers, Peyton Wilson actually has been pretty solid, graded out in man coverage, but Patrick Queen has not. So what do I mean by showing all these stats and making the point to light them up in man coverage? Well, you still need to run the ball. But when you run the ball effectively, especially over the middle of the field and in between the tackles, you will force those linebackers, you will force those safeties to have to creep up a little bit more. Take another step on the run fake. And then you can hit them on play action over the middle of the field. And I simply don't envision Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, Kyle Duggar, or Jalen Ramsey being able to stick with Darren Waller, stick with Greg Dulcich. If you utilize Malik Washington over the middle of the football field, I don't think those linebackers and safeties will be able to defend the slot receivers and tight ends that Miami has in the passing game if you're able to run the ball effectively, force them to commit, and then hit them with play action. But if you see a man-to-man as well, I'm also interested in taking the top off of them if they get one-on-one with Jaylen Waddle. Final key to victory for Miami. This one is cliche, yes, but Tua, you cannot turn the ball over. That is a key every week, but especially playing an opportunistic defense on the road in a primetime playoff type game. Tua, by the way, this season has a 5.4 turnover-worthy play percentage. It is the highest in the National Football League. It's a tie for the highest. The other guy who has the same number, Spencer Rattler. He's no longer the starting quarterback for his team. So the point I'm making is he cannot put the ball in harm's way. And he has been doing this consistently over the past month, even with Miami playing better football, winning, and being more successful offensively. I charted 3 turnover-worthy plays for Tua against the Jets. The lateral pass that wasn't a lateral, that's a turnover-worthy play. The almost pick six he threw at his own 2-yard line, and then the ball over the middle of the field that might have gotten tipped, but still could have been intercepted and caught by a Jets corner. He had 3 turnover-worthy plays the week prior against the Saints, 1 against the Commanders, and 2 against the Buffalo Bills. If you give the Steelers defense opportunities to take the ball away by throwing it to them or throwing it in a spot that could be intercepted, they will take advantage. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the second best defense in the NFL this year in takeaways per game. They average 1.8 a contest. If you give them chances, they will make you pay. This is not the New York Jets. This is not the New Orleans Saints. This is not the Washington Commanders. You have 3 turnover-worthy plays in this game, Tua. I'm willing to bet they're probably taking away 2, definitely taking 1 of them away. So you cannot put the ball in harm's way. All right, those are my key to victories for Miami in this one. Predict the score, Dolphins, Steelers, who gets the win, and what's the final score. I'm giving you mine here in just 1 second, so let me know yours down in the comments. I think the Dolphins win. I do. Maybe an optimist. Maybe that is the case. But I do think the advantage Miami has running the football in this game and how poor the Steelers' run defense has been with the uptick in defensive production Miami has had as well is all in Miami's favor. I don't think the Steelers are that good. And yes, I gave Aaron Rodgers some flowers earlier today. I don't think he is that good, especially as the weather coldens up. Yes, it will affect Tua, but Aaron Rodgers will be affected as well. I think Dolphins win this game 2017. It will be a battle. It will be close. Heck, it even might be a game-winning Riley Patterson field goal if Tua can get him in the right field position. But I do think Miami gets a win closely on the road. And I want to go back and revisit those odds, by the way. The Steelers are 3-point favorites. But Vegas, we know this, gives 3-point bumps to the home team, which means Vegas believes at this point in the season, if they met on a neutral field, say it was at the Super Bowl, I know that's not possible, but say it was, it would be a pick'em game. Can you go on the road and get the win? We'll see, folks, but we'll be here for it with your news as well every step of the way leading up to this game. Hit that sub button. I'll see you later with another video. Go Fins.